Okay. Well, first, I just want to take a minute to thank everyone for joining us again. This is our second Geminar. Some of you joined us back in June for the first one. It went very well, and folks really enjoyed hearing from John and sharing his wisdom. So we asked him to join us again to do a special presentation focused on garnets. It's definitely not what most people think of when you hear garnet, and John's going to tell us all about that. So without further ado, I'm going to pass the microphone, if you will, off to John Bradshaw, our humble New Englander. Thank you, John.
Thanks, Shannon. And a pleasure to be back and do this again for the second time this year. The first time was a blast, and looking forward to doing it one more time. If you may notice, one thing that was different this time than last time is I have a green screen now. And this is actually a picture that I took. It's one of my most favorite pictures that I've taken in all my travels around the world. This is up in the Karakoram Mountains in the northern Himalayas in northern Pakistan. And you can see that little slope over my right shoulder, I guess, that is going uphill, and we were climbing up that slope to go to a ruby and spinel mine, and this is in July, and that is, and behind me, that is Mount Rakapushi. The elevation there is about 25,500 feet. It's right up there, and it stays snow covered year round. So that's a little bit of a new addition from the last time around. Anyway, let me go back into sharing my screen, and we can start the little garnet presentation. Okay, we're good? We're good. There we are. Our videos are still on, and welcome to Brown Goldsmiths Autumn Geminar, Friday, October 2nd. Here we go.
So John, we did have one person that says they don't see a mute button, and they want to be sure that they are already muted.
They are definitely, if they are an attendee, they are muted. They have no video, they have no audio.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. So everybody thinks that their birthstone, if they were born in January, is a boring old red dark stone. And for many cases, and for a long period of time, that was certainly the case. So where does the name garnet come from? The name garnet is actually from the Latin granatus, which means grain or seed. And you can see how it very much looks like the seeds of a pomegranate. An old English term was garnet, which meant dark red. So the garnets are a whole lot more now than just a dark red gem. They are available in every color of the rainbow, even blue. And we'll talk about that in a few secs. It is definitely not a single gem, but a very complex family of gems. It is the birthstone for January, as I mentioned, and it also is the stone for second anniversaries. It has commercial uses as sandpaper or as water filtration. Many of us has used sandpaper over the years, and much of that sandpaper is made of garnet. Garnet has been used as gems and abrasives, the red material anyway, for 4,000 to 5,000 years, so it's not certainly a new stone. And I showed this picture at the end of the last Geminar, and to me it's just a fascinating picture and kind of gives a quick peek of a very complex family of gems. So each one of these species that you see at the end of the row is its own species. And if you look at the first letters, those are the elements that make up that particular species of garnet. So for pyrope, it's a magnesium. For almandine, it's iron. For spessartine, it's manganese. For androidite, it's calcium. And for uverovite, it's a little bit of chromium in there as well. Now, the interesting thing is that you rarely, if ever, get 100% spessartite, almandine, pyrope, grossular. Those lines that go between are indicates a solid solution series. So what do I mean by solid solution series? The easiest way to describe that, I guess, would be to say if your mother was Italian and your father was Irish, then you would be half Irish and half Italian, so you would be halfway down that line. So if your father was pyrope and your mother was spessartine, then you'd be a pyrope spessartine about halfway through. So it is a complex family. That triangle in the front, pyrope, almandine, and spessartine, oftentimes you get mixtures of all three, and those are known as pyrrolspites. And in the back triangle, Uverovite, grossular, and androidite, those are collectively known as eugrandites, because often you can get those chemicals mixing as well. So not to get too technical, but that's what it is. Anyway, so let's talk about the pyrope almandine species. It has a variety of rhodolite. Typically, the pyrope almandine is a dark red, sometimes an orangey red. The variety rhodolite means that it has to have that purplish overtone to it. And where are these things from? Mostly East Africa, Madagascar, Brazil, Sri Lanka, and also the US. In Maine, there are pyrope almandines that are found from time to time in the mid-1990s, 1993 to 1995. In Bodenham, there was approximately 7,000 carats of pyrope almandine rough that was found. The largest stone was 4.5 carats, which is pretty large for a pyrope almandine. And there were many 4 to 5 millimeter rounds. For rhodolites, most rhodolites tend to be less than 10 carats, although some can get quite large. Jumping into the pyrope spessartines, and the two varieties in that category are Malaya Garnet, shown here on the left, and color change garnet on the right. Malaya Garnets can range from a yellowish orange all the way through to a reddish orange. Malaya is kind of an interesting name. It was only found back in I believe the 1960s or so, give or take. And when it was first found, it didn't really fit into the nice red stones that the miners were used to finding. And so Malaya is the Swahili term for outcast or prostitute. And it has stuck to this day, and it indicates a garnet with a certain chemical composition, a certain set of optical properties, and a certain set of physical properties. Pyrope spessartite on the right, the color change garnets, they will change from a green in daylight, that's pretty standard. And the indoor color and incandescent can run anywhere from a brownish pink to a purple, and sometimes a red if you use your imagination. I also mentioned that blue garnet was something that didn't exist, and that didn't exist until the mid-1990s, so relatively recent time ago. And but now there are pyrope spessartines that are blue, and it finishes the color scheme of all the garnets. So where are the pyrope spessartines from? Again, East Africa, primarily Tanzania and Kenya. And as I mentioned, it was the source of the last known color of garnet, the blues, back in the 1990s. As far as sizes, color change garnets typically are small, 5 carats and less. Malaya garnets, rarely over 10 carats. I've seen them larger than 10 carats. I've had them larger than 10 carats, but most of them tend to be far less than 10. Moving on to another species of garnet, the spessartite, and here we have a great range of color in the color orange, all the way from a yellowy orange through a pumpkin orange and into a deep reddish orange. Sometimes that will indicate an exact country or an exact mine where the material came from. It is found all over the world. Moving here, Namibia is known as Mandarin. One of the trade names for it is Mandarin spessartine, and that is only from Namibia. That locality is long since worked out. Nigeria is still a producer to a small extent. Madagascar occasionally, Brazil occasionally. In the US, we had two famous spessartite localities. The first was in California, the Little Three Mine, which is in Ramona, California. That has since been worked out. To the best of my knowledge now, I believe I heard it was a parking lot for an apartment building. In Virginia, the Rutherford Mine in Amelia Courthouse, Virginia, which is the name of the town, was a famous locality, and some fairly large spessartites came from there. In fact, one of the largest weighed 6,000 carats. It was purchased by James Horner. James Horner was many of you may recognize the name, is a music composer. He did the music for Titanic and several other movies along the line. He was a tremendous gem and mineral enthusiast, and I partnered with him to cut up and sell that particular crystal in its various gem forms. As far as spessartite goes, it's possible up to 20 carats. In Namibia and California, rarely are they over 10 carats. And another kind of fascinating little tidbit about spessartite garnet is they are magnetic to a rare earth magnet. Here's a little round spessartite and a rare earth magnet, and it'll jump right to the magnet. And that's because it is very high in manganese, and it sometimes is difficult to get off the magnet. But that is a kind of a unique thing among the garnets. Anything that is high in manganese or high in iron will be definitely magnetic, and not magnetic to your typical refrigerator magnet. It really does have to be a rare earth magnet. One of the most colorful groups is the grossular garnets. Their varieties are Hessenite, Savorite, and grossular. I'll explain that a little bit. In the top right are the tremendous Savorites, those medium to medium dark, intense chrome green colors. A lighter shade of that is seen in the bottom right, and that is known as a mint garnet. For many years, the mint garnets weren't considered as precious as the Savorites were, but that has changed in the last few years, and these pastelly mint garnets, Marillani mint garnets as they're sometimes called, have become very, very, very popular. Hessianite garnet in the bottom left, and what's unique about these are its inclusions, and I have a picture coming up in a few slides that'll show you what the inclusions look like, but it reminds you of a heat wave, and you'll see what that looks like. Any other color, whether it's yellow or colorless, it's just known by that colored term. So it's colorless grossular, yellow grossular, so on and so forth.
John, another quick question before you continue.
Sure.
Sue wants to know if there are any mines here in Maine where the general population can go for a fun day of mining and hopefully find a gem or two.
In Maine, not really. There are several mines in Maine that are active and working. We mined in Maine in several places over the years, and one of the biggest problems with having the general public come in is insurance, because mines are not typically a well-developed place with a nice clean parking lot and a refreshment stand. It's a fairly dangerous area to be in. So to have insurance for mining, which is already expensive, to have outside general public come in adds another whole layer that typically isn't done. There are mines in this country, in the US, that definitely you can go to. Crater of Diamonds in Murfreesboro, Arkansas. There are several sluicing spots in North Carolina, and also you can pan for Montana sapphires out in Montana, and there probably are a few others, but Maine, not really.
Thank you for that, John.
Sure. In the grossulars, again, Kenya, Tanzania, Sri Lanka, Brazil, Canada, again, mostly less than 5 carats. Colorless grossulars are extremely rare and usually never over 1 carat. Moving on to androdite. There are 2 varieties. The brown androdites are known here on the top, those browns. Those are typically found in Arizona. There's no other brown or yellowy brown like it in the gem world. On the bottom are all demantoids, which is the green variety of androdite. On the far left, that lighter green is a Namibian demantoid. Also a Namibian demantoid in the center, but that one's huge. It's almost 12 carats, which is absolutely magnificently large. And on the right is a Russian demantoid, the classic source for demantoid in the first place that it was found in the Ural Mountains. And that also has a very cool inclusion that I'll show in another slide or two. So where are the androdites from? Again, the browns come from Arizona. The demantoids, the greens, they come from Russia, Namibia, Madagascar, Iran, and a little bit in Canada as well, all typically less than 3 carats. And this doesn't necessarily show what I'm going to tell you, but use your imagination a little bit. So the lighter color of demantoids have a very, very high dispersion. And what that means is that it, like a diamond, it breaks up white light into the spectral colors. So if I play this video and you use your imagination a little bit, you can see a little bit of the spectral colors that are shining through here. You can see some of the yellows, some of the greens and blues, and maybe a flash of orange or red. Not a great video, but better than nothing. Better than my words. And finally, we have Uverovite or Uverovite. Either is correct. This is the only garnet that has really never been faceted. The crystals are always tiny and small, and they're always just small little druzy crystals on matrix, and typically they're formed into slabs like this in various shapes. They can be kind of kite shaped like here. They can be ovals, rounds, what have you. This is also coloring due to chromium. And they're really only found, they were found in a few localities worldwide, but most notably the Saranowski mine in the Ural Mountains in Russia.
The videos that we have added to Instagram stories actually show that beautiful dispersion and fire in those gems.
Oh, great. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I should have had that picture in my presentation. Anyways, I had mentioned some unique characteristics about Garnet inclusions, and we talked a little bit about inclusions when we did the last Geminar. On the far left here, those are very, very typical inclusions in pyropes, almandines, rhodolites, what have you. They look sometimes an awful lot like the matted inclusions, the root-tail inclusions in corundum. But if you look closely, real closely, they intersect at slightly different angles than they do in corundum. In the center is a demantoid horsetail inclusion. These are abyssalite or chrysotile, which is a variety of asbestos fibers. And that is a very, very desirable inclusion to have in your demantoid. And I mentioned that heat wave effect. So if you look at the picture on the right, on a hot summer day, if you've ever looked down the road and you see that little heat wave effect that rises from the road, that's kind of what you see when you look inside a Hessenite at magnification. Sometimes you can see it with your naked eye, but definitely under magnification, you certainly can. Let me jump quickly into the synthetic garnets because they do have some uses. There are two that are pretty well known. GGG, which is gadolinium gallium garnet. It was used as a diamond simulant long before cubic zirconia was around. It's also used as components in optical systems. More common than GGG is the YAGs, the yttrium aluminum garnets. And either one of those can be doped to any color. With chromium, you get green. With cobalt, you get blue. With manganese, you get red. With neodymium, you get purple. Again, it was another diamond simulant, and it also is used as lasers. A neodymium YAG laser is often used in the removal of certain tattoo colors, which is kind of interesting. And as far as cutting characteristics go, it's a great stone to work with. It has excellent optical properties. It ensures a very bright stone if properly cut. It is singly refractive, so orientation is never a problem. It doesn't have any cleavages. It has great hardness and good durability. It makes a great gem. It takes a great polish. And it's never enhanced, although rarely some Russian demantoids are heated to improve the color, but other than that, none of the other garnets are. So with that, I hope it gives you a little peek into the whole complex garnet family, which is just not your boring red stone anymore. And with that, let me escape out of that and bring my video back. And here we go. Stop.
John, the demantoids,
yep.
if they're heated,
yep.
will they lose the horsetail?
No.
Okay.
No, they're heated to a relatively low temperature, and not all of the demantoids can be successfully heated to improve the color. Sometimes they'll go brown, so which is not ideal. But some do improve the color to a more vibrant green, but the horsetail stays. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. So at that, somebody asked too, Shannon, and you asked me to kind of comment on it. I think this is probably a good time to do it. The difference between garnets and rubies. Again, they both can be red. Certainly garnet can be red and ruby is definitely red. But that's where the similarity ends. They have completely different chemical structures. They have completely different physical structures, different properties. Although both can be red, rarely are they the same color red. Ruby is harder than garnet is, but ruby is also treated far more often than garnet ever is. So in a nutshell, that's kind of the difference between garnets and rubies. So,
and we have another question about hardness.
okay.
The hardness of garnet, and does it vary depending on the color?
It's all pretty standard. Most garnets will range between 7 to 7.5, 7 to 7.5. Some of the demantoids can dip down to 6.5 or so. But the difference between 6.5 and 7.5 is virtually nothing. Remember, the hardness scale is not absolute. It's just a relative scale. So, diamond being 10 and sapphire being 9, but diamond is many hundreds of times harder than corundum is. So,
great.
You ready? So I'm going to turn my video off now and we'll jump to the turntable. And start the process here. Bear with me for just a sec. Oops. There we go. Turntables in view. Awesome. Okay, let me move closer to the turntable. We'll turn it on and see if we can line things up and get straightened away. So first up is a stone that was shown on the social media pages, and this is just an awesome stone. This is a blue topaz, the birthstone of November. It can be sourced obviously in a variety of colors, colorless, pink, red, orange, yellow, and blue. So blue topaz usually is the result of a treatment process, which involves irradiation and heating. This piece, completely natural, naturally blue, is from the Ukraine. It weighs 27.22 carats. It's an oval, 20.5 by 15.6. The skew SB 134. And the price on this, $536. Is that okay in the center of that? I can move my thing just a little bit.
I think that looks good.
That's good? All right, cool. All right, how about putting up a garnet? After all, that's what we're talking about. So here, this again, very unusual. This is a very large Hessenite garnet. Again, it typically shows the heat wave effect, which you easily can see with magnification. As I mentioned, sometimes you can see it with the unaided eye if you really have good eyes. This is from Sri Lanka. It's very sizable at 7.70 carats, an oval 12.8 by 10.2. The skew is PB 153, and it is $1,184. Next up, a match pair. And these are very cool. I'm going to put them up one at a time because my tweezers won't grab both of them at the same time. So Lapis Lazuli, which is actually not a mineral at all, it's a rock. And it's composed of several different minerals. The minerals that it mostly is composed of is lazurite, calcite, pyrite, and there are a few other minor materials as well. This material really has been prized since antiquity, dating back to 6000 BC. It was and still is mined from the Sarisang mines in Afghanistan. It was also used as a pigment for some of the Renaissance painters back in the day. And you can see here, you can see those little gold flecks in the blue. That's the pyrite. And let me see, that's a LAP 2282. The total weight is 15.67 carats, and it's $168 for the pair. And here, yeah, actually, you know what? Let me put up a little dime just so we have for scale. Here we have a Spessartite garnet, also known as spessartine. Either is correct. This is material that just recently came earlier this year from Nigeria. It was recently cut here by me. It's the manganese end member in the garnet family. It's often a component with the other garnet species, pyrospessartine, pyrospite, so on and so forth. And it's named after the original locality where it was found in Spessart, which is in the Bavarian region of Germany. Here it is 5.96 carats. It is a 9.8 millimeter square cushion. Oops, and it doesn't want to sit still. And that's $1,376.
John, we have another question about red garnet.
Sure.
Why are red garnets that are in old Victorian jewelry worth so little now?
So the red garnet, as I mentioned, the red garnets go back 4,000 to 5,000 years, and they are from ancient sources. They are fairly common. They tend to be dark. Most of them tend to be on the almandite, the pyrobalminidine side, more almandine than anything else. They have been used in jewelry for many, many years, but it's that particular color, it often has a little bit of a brownish twang to it as well. And that particular color is a little bit less in cost per carat.
Thank you.
Sure. All right, let's show an iolite. This is kind of a Tanzanite lookalike, or a sapphire lookalike almost. The mineral name is cordiorite. The gem name is iolite. It often ranges in color from a light to a dark blue, usually with a little bit of a purplish overtone like this stone. It is also strongly pleochroic, which means if I turned it 90 degrees in 3 different directions, you'd see 3 different colors, including colorless. Historically, Viking navigators used to use little thin slices of iolite to help them locate the sun on cloudy days. And mostly that's because of their pleochroic properties. It's still incorrectly called sunstone to this day. So this one weighs 3.34 carats. It is an emerald cut, obviously, SB 181 from Tanzania, and it's $468. All right, up next we have a spessartite. Spessartite, as you know, as I mentioned, is found in Nigeria, Namibia, Afghanistan, Brazil. This one happens to be from Madagascar, which is also a locality, but a much smaller locality than some of the others. As I mentioned, in the US, some of the famous deposits that are now exhausted include those in Ramona, California, and Amelia Courthouse, Virginia. This one is an oval 9.6 by 8.0, 4.46 carats, and it's $2,008. Oops. This is one of my favorites. Savorite is a very cool stone. This is also huge at 2.24 carats. So Savorite is the trade name for that medium dark to dark green variety of Grassy Garnet. Lighter green stones, as I mentioned, have become more popular in the recent years, and those are known as Marillani mints. This is 1,000,000,007.5 millimeters. The skew is PB154, 2.24 carats, that rich chrome green color at $2,016. Oops. It doesn't want to go on the table with its friends. There we go. How about a rhodolite? that kind of raspberry, orangey, little bit of a purpley twang to it. And you'll see different colors in rhodolite as you change the light source from fluorescent light to incandescent light to daylight. But that rhodolite always has to have a little bit of that purplish overtone in some light. And it can range from a lighter color through to a darker color. This one is 2.23 carats, an oval, PB 800, and it is $284. Let me small that picture just a little bit so that as we add stones, they don't disappear. All right, how about a Malaya Garnet coming up? Again, this is a little step cut cushion. Malaya Garnet is that variety, as we mentioned, of the garnet species Pyrobalminidine, found in Tanzania. Africa certainly is the source of many of the garnets that are challenging to classify. And because this didn't really fit into any of the garnet categories when it was first found, it was classified as Malaya, which in Swahili, again, means outcast or prostitute. It's a cushion, 3.83 carats, JB 506, and it is $460.
And John, remind us again which of the garnet varieties are typically heated?
Only certain varieties, only certain stones that are from demantoid from Russia. The Namibian, the Madagascar, the Iranian, the Canadian stones, the heat will do nothing. So it's only Russian demantoid.
Great, thank you.
Here's another little Savorite oval, 1.04 carats. Interesting story about Savorite. It was first discovered back in 1967 by Campbell Bridges, who was an American living in East Africa and spent most of his life in East Africa, actually. One day he was out prospecting for stones, and he ran into a water buffalo. And in the process of trying to get away from the water buffalo, he jumped over the side of a little hill, and at the bottom of the hill, he found this little green crystal. Make a long story short, it was a combination of Campbell Bridges and Tiffany and Company in New York that gave the name Savorite in honor of Tsavo National Park in Kenya. And this stone, 1.04 carats, 7.3 by 5.6, PB 764, and it is $816. Oh, let me get my other tweezers. These are my Savorite tweezers. Just kidding. All right, let's see. This is a unique pair of Spessartite garnets, and Shannon, you guys did an awesome job on photographing these, which are very difficult to photograph. For those of you that didn't see it, oops, there goes one. For those of you that didn't see the picture, check out Brown Goldsmiths, their Instagram page, because the pair was just tremendously photographed. These are custom cut. They are very unique in that they are the only, these will never happen again. The old mine in Namibia is now closed. It is tremendous material, 3.51 carats total weight, 6.6 millimeters square match pair, and they're $1,816 for the pair. And those aren't gonna sit too well. Well, you know what, I'll put them on the table anyway. All right, up next we have a rhodolite. This one is 2.63 carats. Rhodolite, interesting enough, is from the Greek rhodon for rose-like. It was really first described in the U.S. from the Coe Valley in North Carolina. This stone is from Tanzania. A cushion 10.1 by 6.0. It actually has the same step cut cushion that the Malaya Garnet did earlier. 2.63 carats, $280 for the stone. All right, you jump away from garnets for just a minute and let's show a cool Tanzanite. So this is a great little piece. Tanzanite, again, is a relative newcomer to the gemstone world. It was, again, discovered in 1968, again by Campbell Bridges, and given the trade name Tanzanite in honor of the host country, Tanzania. The mineralogical name is zoisite. Tanzanite sounds way better. But Tanzanite can only be called Tanzanite if it's blue or purple. If it's green, it's called chrome zoisite. If it's pink, it's called pink zoisite or thulite. If it's yellow, it's called yellow zoisite. Pretty simple. But this is a cool little custom cut square cushion, very brilliant, and it is 2.10 carats, $928 for the stone. Okay, how about another?
We got a beautiful video of that Tanzanite as well.
Yeah, that was a great video that you guys had. That was pretty awesome. All right, another Malaya Garnet, kind of in the peachy, orangey, yellowish orange color. Again, Malaya Garnet, technically a variety of pyrospecitite. It also is found in other garnet species in its makeup, including almandine, grossular, and androidite. So it really is a mix of a number of different varieties. You can have up to 5 different garnet types in a Malaya. This one, 2.97 carats, an oval from Umba, Tanzania, the Umba Valley, and that is $360. All right, another rhodolite, and this one I like a lot because it is an emerald cut. Carat 88. Emerald cuts are awesome because an emerald cut is designed to show off color, and this stone certainly has color. There's that definite purple overtone on the reddish pink color. Just a great clean piece. The inclusions, as I mentioned in rhodolite, can sometimes mimic the inclusions in sapphire and ruby, although the angles are slightly different than they are in corundums. This stone, again, carat 88, emerald cut, $200 for the stone. Let's put it right side up where it's happy. There we go. Okay, another Malaya Garnet, 2.03 carats, a great little pear shape, quite bright. Again, Malaya has a pretty wide color range from light to dark, pinkish orange, reddish orange, yellowish orange. Typically small, always less than 10 carats. This one, 2.03 carats, pear shape. PB 277 is the skew, again from Umba, Tanzania, and that one is $304. And the only one that I have that truly comes out is a pyrobalminidine, so it is very closely related to a rhodolite, but with no purple overtone. So this is, this is basically just a straight kind of orangey red color, very well cut, bright. As I mentioned, pyrobalminidine is a solid solution series between pyrope and almandine. And here, because we don't have any purple, we're just gonna call it pyrobalminidine. This stone is from Nepal. RB 206 is the skew. It weighs a carat 87, and it's $168. Here we had, the last one we had a pyrobalminidine with no purple. This time we have a round rhodolite with a little bit of a purple overtone to it. So it can classically be called rhodolite. This one, OB337, is the skew. It weighs a carat 76, and it's $120, also from Tanzania. And another fun garnet. This is going to be a match pair, and I'm just going to hold it up with my fingers. The Uverovite Garnets. We in focus there? Yeah, we're okay. Uverovite, just one of the coolest, one of the rarest members of the garnet family. The crystals are always tiny. Certainly too small for fastening. You can see those little tiny little shimmering crystals on there. Druzy coatings on the matrix. Just make a cool little pair. This is from Russia. It is approximately 18.4 carats total weight, and the pair is $236. And how about a Spessartite little cushion from Madagascar? Again, this the high manganese content certainly makes spessartines give that little cool little effect, attraction to a rare earth magnet. This one, the stock number RB226, carat 34, and the price here $324. And instead of picking it up with my tweezers, let me grab it with a magnet and put it down here if it'll leave me. Come on, there we go. Oops, sorry about that. And here's a small little Savorite garnet, emerald cut. Again, emerald cut shows off the color just to a great degree. Very, very bright, very, very clean. And although it's been found in a few other countries such as Pakistan, Madagascar, and Antarctica, believe it or not, there's still only commercial sources remain in Tanzania and Kenya. The stone from Tanzania, an emerald cut, 0.55 carats, a little over half carat, and $332 for the stone. And another pear shape, little Malaya, again, another well-cut stone, primarily found in the Umba Valley, which borders Tanzania and Kenya. Again, it was discovered back in the 1960s. Didn't really become popular until in the late 1970s. Carat 65, pear shape, PB 287 is the skew, and it is $212. And again, let's jump out of the garnet family just for a sec and show a little blue. This is a great colored aquamarine from Madagascar. Certainly aquamarine is one of the best known varieties in the beryl family. Certainly reminds you of the color of the ocean, sometimes maybe down in the Caribbean with that great blue color. The name actually comes from the Latin meaning water of the sea. It's the birthstone from March. And that stone weighs, again, a carat 24 oval, RB351. It's $440. Okay, back to the garnets. Great little purple overtone in this. In fact, a very strong purple. Umbellite is a trade name used to occasionally describe a lighter toned rhodolite that originates from the Umba region in Tanzania. So this is close to what an umbellite would be. 6.6 millimeter round, QB 381, a carat 34, and that one is $200. And I have another match pair coming up, and instead of dumping them on the tray, I'm going to put them in a tray to show them just a little bit better. And here, this is a great little pair, oval match pair, 6x4. And I know, Shannon, I know that you sent out a list of the stones that we're going to be showing tonight. And when I was preparing the stones for the event tonight, I realized that my finger must have got stuck on the 0 on the price of this. So the price that is on the sheet is actually incorrect. It's listed as $1,908 for the pair. It's actually half of that. $954 is the price, the actual price for this pair. And the weight is 1.06 carats total weight. Another little match pair of round demantoids. And again, these show tremendous dispersion in the sun or in spot halogen lights. Again, demantoid being the green variety of Androidite garnet, Namibia, Madagascar, Russia, Quebec, Iran, all very well-known sources. Russian demantoids, although we don't have any tonight, are certainly famous for their horsetail inclusions. I had a call today actually from a appraiser out on the West Coast who just received the 10-carat demantoid cab with a great horsetail inclusion. And the reason that it was cabbed was because they wouldn't have been able to get the entire horsetail in a faceted stone. So they cabbed it to make the most of it. And he sent me a picture. It was stunning. Back to Hessenite, and again, this is the garnet that has that little heat wave effect in the middle. It also is known as cinnamon stone, and it can range from that yellowish orange, like I showed before, to more of a reddish orange, which is what we have here. From Sri Lanka, this is around 6.5 millimeter, PB 316, weighs a carat 23, and it is $136.
And that heat wave can also be described like whiskey in water.
Yes, that's a good way to describe it. I always kind of picture it as, you know, looking on a hot summer day, looking down a highway and seeing that heat wave rise from the pavement. But yeah, whiskey and water certainly would also be another way to describe it for sure. All right, we're closing in on what we have left, another less than a dozen stones or so. This is a match pair of rhodolite. Again, these are almost purple in its entirety. These are from Tanzania, but most of the purple does come from Mozambique. The discovery of rhodolite as clean water-worn pebbles in East Africa certainly increased available sizes. Again, always less than 10 carats, although a few stones over the years have approached up to 100 carats. This is a 5.5 millimeter round match pair. GAR 2224 is the skew. They weigh a carat 56 total weight. Well, only one of them does now. And they are $168 for the pair. Let me get that one there, and let me get his friend. Get him on the moving turntable. That's not easy to do.
John, going back to the pair of demantoids, can you remind us how much that pair is?
Oh, sorry, I didn't know if I gave that. That is 98 points total weight, and the price for the pair, $420.
Thank you.
Sure. And here we have a single demantoid. This one from Madagascar. And again, the colors can range from kind of a light green. You can actually see just a hint of the dispersion here at the top of the stone, a little bit of the blue flash, a little bit of a red flash, maybe a little bit of orange and a yellow. It can range from a light green to a dark green. The lighter the stone, the easier it is to see that dispersion. This one, 5.4 millimeter round, KB 397. It weighs 65 points, and it's $640. Okay, and here, the other little match pair of Uverovite garnets. A little bit smaller than the other pair. This one weighs 10.5 carats. Again, the Uverovite, always that rich green color because of the chromium content, which is inherent in its composition. And again, the main occurrence is the Sarovsky mine in the Ural Mountains of Russia. And next up, we have a rhodolite. Again, a little bright, well-cut round, no windows. The pure purples identified as rhodolite sporadically found in both Mozambique and Tanzania. This 6.9 millimeter round weighs a carat 64. PB 807 is the skew. and it is $244. And next up, we have a couple of match pairs, and that ends the match pairs for the night. This pair is a match pair of 4mm round Savorites. Traces of vanadium is actually where this color comes from, and sometimes they can even have a little skosh of chromium along with it, and that is the responsible coloring agent in Savorite. TSV 1933 is a skew, 43 points total weight is the weight, $276 for the pair. And again, leaving the Garnet family just briefly, this is a pair of gray spinels. Now, the cool thing about gray spinels is they can pick up a little bit of color depending on what your environment is. So on a very cloudy Maine gray day, these things will be dead nuts gray. On a bright blue day, they'll pick up a little bit of a blue twang to them, or sometimes even a purple twang depending on the light. But those cool gray colors, they've been extremely popular over the past few years, and almost always they are from Burma. They pair well with diamonds. They pair well with other colored stones. Here, this is a 4.5mm round match pair, SB 039. They weigh 79 points total weight, and they are $140.
John, if there's anything in particular that somebody would like to see, when you send us the gems that have sold, would you also send a few for folks to look at?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, sure. Happy to.
Thank you.
And we have 5 more to go. And this is the last demontoid of the night. Again, another stone from Madagascar, a bright little, happy bright little round. Has a little bit of chromium, has a little bit of iron. That's where the color comes from. The higher the chromium, the lower the iron, the finer the color. Again, these are like spessartite, also magnetic, attracted to the rare earth magnet. This one weighs 53 points. It's a 4.9mm round, KB 395, and it's $520. And we have the last Savorite in the run. A cool little round, again from Tanzania. Anything over 1 carat in Savorite gets quite large. I think the largest we had tonight was a 2 carat, the triangle. That's really big. This one at 72 points is still respectable. And it is a 5mm round, JB 744. It is $708.
The rainbow of colors on your turntable, John, are spectacular.
Isn't that cool altogether?
It really does.
Yeah. And this is the last rhodolite. Now, this is probably the most purple rhodolite you'll ever see. This is definitely from Mozambique. It was a relatively small deposit that was found there. They were all purple. Sometimes they are called and seen as grape garnets, and somebody had asked me earlier about that. Grape garnet is actually a trademarked name. So although it looks like a grape garnet, I can't sell it as a grape garnet because that trademark belongs to the company that trademarked it. But this is 7x5 oval, PB 327, weighs 1.07 carats at $144. And these are not going to show, the last 2 stones I have are star sapphires. Now, star sapphire, while cool, this is not the environment to show them in. Basically, let me put it against the background a little bit here. You kind of need a point source of light. So either an overhead halogen light, the sun is a great one, and this will show a pretty good star. The video that you had online actually did a very good, very good job. And I have 2 of these. This one weighs 2.52 carats, 8.3 by 6.9, the skew QB 141, and it's $496. And also the last one, also another Star Sapphire, same thing. It won't show very well on the turntable lights, but that's what it looks like. And it does, both of these have a very good star in the right lighting. And Rutail is the source that gives that typical that form of the star. 8.4 by 6.7, the skew QB 140. This weighs 2.30 carats at $244 for the stone. And with that, we have reached the end of the line for what we had for the Garnet Geminar. So let me stop the share and get back to my video here. In just a second, we pull this back over, turn that off, video on. Here I am. Okay, so I'm back. If anybody has any questions, I'd certainly give my best to try and answer them for you.
Okay. I'm wondering if you still have the rough.
Ah, the rough. I was going to show that before I showed the cut stones, but yes, I do, as a matter of fact. In fact, let me see if I can scrape those stones away a little bit on the turntable. And
just so you know, John, if we did that here at Brown Goldsmiths,
yes,
everybody's hair would be standing on end. Slide the gems off the turntable.
That's why I didn't have it on the turn. That's why I didn't have the video on the turntable when I did it. Don't try this at home. All right.
You can polish them.
Yeah, exactly. I have the technology. All right, hold on. I'm going to go back to my match here and share.
Sorry to foul you up, but I just know everybody will really enjoy seeing that rough.
Oh yeah, no worries. My fault. I should have done that in the beginning, but like a dope, I didn't. That's okay. We can go back. All right, so here are a few of the Savorite pieces of rough, and that's what they look like just as they come out of the ground. And I mentioned the Marillani mint garnets. Now I didn't have any of these cut. I recently, as in a week ago, flew out to Montana for a day to look at an old inventory / collection that became available, and there were a few cool pieces of Marillani mint garnet that were in that collection. So those will be coming attractions in the next year or so. Here's a few Hessenite garnets. Those are actually from Brazil. And for all our Canadian friends, here's a few Hessenite garnets from a very famous place up in Quebec, the Jeffrey Mine in Asbestos, Quebec. And what's cool about these, I mentioned to you the other day, I have one here. Here's a cool little single crystal. You can see the natural faces on this crystal. And what's very cool about this material is it is one of the few garnets that crystallizes as great mineral specimens. And great mineral specimens can be very, very, very expensive, even more expensive than the cut stones sometimes.
So John, we have another question.
Okay.
Choosing a gemstone that's already cut and faceted can be hard enough. How do you actually choose rough that you're going to purchase to then cut and polish?
Oh, if I told you that, everybody would do it. You know what? It's a very looking at rough and understanding rough is a very long, arduous process that takes many, many years. Each type of stone has its own unique set of optical properties, physical properties, and the cutter really has to kind of know those in order to be able to get them and on the wheel and successfully finish them. So let me just show you just an example here. These are some Rhodolite garnets from Tanzania. And where is my light? Here it is. So here's a looks like a pebble. Most people would just kick it in the parking lot. But if you put some light behind it, you can see that the clarity here is exceptional. The color is very good. Now you're also looking at the color, you're looking at the clarity, you're looking at the shape of the crystal and what that might yield for a finished stone. Now this is a little bit on the thin side, so the width of the stone would come down a little bit to be cut properly to the right angles. But it does take a fair amount of time, energy, and effort to understand mineralogically and chemically what all the rough looks like, what it behaves like, and what it looks like when it's done. You can make some very expensive mistakes. Somewhere in the deep recesses of my safe are some pieces where my education came from. And any cutter that says that they never broke a stone is lying, because it does happen. Rarely do you completely lose a stone. Sometimes you have to recut it, make it a tad smaller, but there are very few of those, fortunately. So I hope that answered the question.
Thank you very much.
Sure. Anyway, that was just a few pieces of rough that I could throw up there. And let me stop the share again and jump back to the video. There we go. Let me turn the turntable off. Okay, cool.
Folks have definitely enjoyed your presentation once again, John. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. And
we have a prize to give away.
Yes, we do. And are we going to pick, let me see the, if my able-bodied assistant could bring over the martini glass. And the winner is number 7.
Number 7 is Denise Albert.
There you go. Congratulations, Denise.
Yay, Denise.
And she didn't even send me much money to pick her number.
Don't tell them that, John. She'll be very excited.
Awesome. Awesome. Was she on here tonight or no?
I'm not sure if she made it. I'll have to double check on that.
Let me see. What was her name again?
Denise Albert.
I don't. Hey, Denise, if you're listening, and I don't see your name here, maybe she's not on. Yeah, no, I don't see her.
Does that mean we need to pick a new winner?
Well, that's up to you. I mean, do you have to be present to win?
You were supposed to have attended, yes.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So let's
Well,
pick a new.
pick
Let's pick a new name.
All right,
Mhm.
here we go.
Sorry, Denise.
Fortunately, we still have the martini glass in full regalia here. Okay, let's see. How about number 10?
Number 10, Sue Ball, and I know she is attending.
You there, Sue? If you're there, give us a little chat comment. Oh, well, she is there. I can make her, Sue, if you'd like to talk, I can make you. If not, that's okay too.
She just said, "Oh my, I'm so excited." We're very excited for you, Sue.
Well, congratulations, Sue.
Yes, congratulations. She said, "Thank you, thank you, thank you."
Awesome, awesome.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, John, once again for fitting us into your very busy schedule.
Sure, pleasure.
We're looking forward to doing this again with you sometime next year.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, after the holidays and after Tucson goes by, and who knows what 2021 will bring, but it was certainly a pleasure working with you over these last couple of Geminars, and if anybody listening here tonight has any other questions, feel free to reach out to Shannon, and she can always find me wherever I am on the ball. So again, thank you for attending and listening to me for an hour or so. And I hope you all have a great and safe rest of 2020.
Thank you, John. You as well. Have a great night.
Thanks, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.